Welcome back to the second hour on this Tuesday, a very important day, a very historic day in the country's political history as we say goodbye to our fifth Prime Minister, the late Basdio Pandey. But of course, the show must go on and we will continue with our segments. We will get to that live coverage later on at 8, but in between, let's, of course, continue with our important conversation as it pertains to the digital world, ways to impact and ways to manipulate and use this technology to our advantage and to bring results that will be favorable. And the man who guides us every single Tuesday morning, whether it's rain, snow, storm, well, not snow, obviously, but we welcome Keron Rose, our digipreneur, here with us. Listen, this man is so committed. Sometimes Keron is overseas, and he will, no matter what's going on, log in still to bring us all the information. Keron, great to see you, and thanks for being here with us yet again.
Thank you for having me, and I'll start by saying my condolences to Mr. Basdio Pandey. I mean, what a way to start off the year, but he definitely left a legacy for us to follow, and I know that his family will continue to live up to his legacy.
That's right.
As you said, you know, rain, sun, snow, we're logging in. And I think the best part about being a digital entrepreneur, is exactly this, being able to log in from anywhere in the world and still be able to do our work. And the more I travel, the more I'm able to see systems and work with other businesses from around the world. You just continue to learn, and I'm able to bring that information and synthesize it for us here in the Caribbean. So yeah, we can get started.
So we into the Carnival, of course. Well, we just completed the second weekend. People still getting familiar with the music. The momentum is building. I don't think we are there just yet. We are now kind of getting into that particular zone and mood. People's very much still kind of in that parang up to last weekend, so there's still people, Christmas tree up, people still want to let go of the Christmas, but we are in Carnival, and it's a short season. Yeah. I want to ask you, what are 5 ways soca artists could market themselves, market their product, which is the music, and by extension themselves, so that they could be in the Carnival mix? Let's talk to the soca artists this morning.
Yeah, I mean, this is a big one. Go ahead, Jada. I think you're about to say
No, I was just going to say, I'm going to take some notes too, because, you know, I still bring forward music. So let me get a pen. Go ahead, preach. I'm ready, I'm taking notes.
So this is always a great conversation every year that Carnival comes around, because you always hear somebody somewhere say something to the extent of, my music is not getting played, the radio stations are fighting me down, the DJs are fighting me down, and I'm not able to get my music out there. And to me, that conversation is insane, because we've never lived in a time where there is no gatekeepers anymore. You are able to be your own media machine and get your music out there and drive publicity to your platforms to get your music out there and build that demand to the point where your fan base is demanding that your music gets played everywhere that you go. So to start that conversation off, one of the key things that artists need to have is having your own website with a strong search engine optimization presence behind it. Because when you have your own platform, you have your own website, you are now able to show up in a Google search, in Google Discover, right? So if somebody is searching something like music for the gym, I should be able to see somebody have a little bit of a write-up with their YouTube video or their audio posted on their website saying, hey, we made this music for going to work out for the gym. Like, if you understand what people are looking for when it comes to music, you can kind of tailor the content on your website to match what people are looking for. That way your content can show up in that Google search. So having your own website is a big one. And that's one of the key digital components for businesses, but also for soca artists that most artists don't have in this digital world right now.
Okay, of course, very important. And that will also help, I would imagine, with bookings, because you could put all the information there in terms of contact information, if someone wants you for the event, whether it's local or abroad. Walk me through some other ways, because again, there's still people who, you know, they rely a lot on radio airplay, the DJs who will do their yearly mix, you know, Carnival starter mix, and if you're not on the mix, you feel depressed, you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm out of the loop, I'm not in the conversation. And if you're not in the conversation, you can't be on stage, and if you're not on stage, you can't get paid.
Exactly. My second tip is it's crazy. It's 2024. We still have a lot of soca artists that are not on TikTok. And TikTok has become one of the number one ways that artists around the world since the pandemic started have been getting discovered, right? So one of my favorite examples is JW. If you know the gentleman out of Barbados, Father Phyllis, who sang Your Boxy, and he has a couple of hits over the past couple of years. He built his entire brand off of just pumping out content via TikTok to the point now where he has a bigger following than a lot of more established artists that have been in the game for a lot of years. Now, whilst the established artists might still get more bookings than him or probably make more money than him, he would never have the world recognition he has today if he never built his massive platform of over 300,000 followers on TikTok alone.
300,000?
300,000. He has a bigger platform than people like Destra, than people like a Nadia Batson, than people like Voice. And it's just crazy to even say that because you're like, how is that possible? But it's
Is
also
he able to monetize it, Keron? I mean, because obviously, okay, 300,000 followers, how is that going to convert into dollars and cents if he's not getting bookings? Like the Destra, or the Voice, or the other artists you just mentioned.
He's getting bookings, and that's the part. That's the big part, right?
I know he's getting bookings, but we're talking here bookings. We are talking no wrong by a parlor, some small barrel stage. I'm talking here because I mean the Voice and the Nadias and these folks are probably on the bigger stages outside. But I know he's I mean I've seen him in a couple of shows and great guy. Yes. But I'm just trying to figure out turning that following into dollars and cents.
Well, that would be a question. You know what? That would be a question for him. I would love to see how else he's been able to take the body of work that he's been putting out in terms of content and how he has been turning that into dollars and cents. But what I'm saying is you have people who are relying on, you know what? If the DJs aren't playing my music, then we're not getting bookings, as you just said. He's able to get bookings because he has, instead of trying to go and play to the radio stations, he has built the TikTok following. He has put out the content, and he's been able to get his music out to the public, where he's even getting demanded, where he's even building his own demand to even get the bookings that he has. So that one particular way is how he's monetizing. I would love to actually have a conversation with him to see how else he's been able to take that brand he's built and how else he's been able to monetize.
Indeed, but there are ways indeed. I mean, there is sure ways to monetize that kind of footing. Fantastic. So
because
that's good.
if he's streaming his music, right? When you're streaming your music on a Spotify or Apple Music, you having your own content platforms to get your music out to the public is going to now drive streams over to the streaming platforms where he is able to monetize and get money from the platforms like a Spotify, but also get bookings to be paid by that way as well.
Understood. Well said. So that's TikTok, of course, your website. Give me some other ways to get out there.
Yeah, man. So one of the big ways, and every year I'm kind of disappointed when I don't see this happening, is if you are only putting out your music in terms of content on your platforms, you're limiting your reach. What artists should start to do is start to vlog their lifestyles, right? If they're taking us behind the scenes in terms of the writing process, how they come up with the music, touring, if you're vlogging all of these things, now this opens you up to now putting that content out on YouTube and directly monetizing from YouTube views. And we get paid in US dollars right here in Trinidad and Tobago from a YouTube. But you have to give content to the platform and not just rely on just putting out your music videos. Start to vlog. Take us around your life. We want to see these things. You have a lot of people who might not be interested in the music, but because you live such a good lifestyle, or maybe they're an artist in a different genre, they can learn from you and see the behind the scenes. That would be great content to be putting out on a YouTube platform where you could then monetize and get sponsorships from other companies you might have not had access to and generate money via that platform and also be discovered as well.
You know, what you're saying there is so spot on, and my mind goes back to, and again, another sad scenario there because we have to say goodbye to him, and he's going to be laid to rest from what I understand. I believe it's today, and that's Ricardo Drew, and he was so good at that. Towards the end of his life, he became so transparent. I don't know if you saw some of his YouTube content. He was talking about his family life and issues with his son's mom, and he was so open, and it was such an engaging conversation. And like the views were tremendous. People were logging in to just hear about Ricardo Drew's personal life. So I understand exactly what you're talking about, that level of authenticity and I guess transparency.
And again, and that opens you up to a wider audience because not everybody's going to be listening to soca, right? So if that's the only thing you're putting out, then you're only limiting yourself to people who enjoy the music. But when you can start to vlog and showcase your life, and again, you're an artist, you're living a pretty interesting lifestyle, you're going to open up to way more people who are going to tune in for that journey.
Well, I mean, we I guess because there's so much pace today, we're a bit pressed for time. So I know we tackled about 4 out of the 5, did we? What's the last one?
All right, so one of the big ones that I will give you is start working with some content creators who are in the nano size. So if you can actually find people who are in the bracket of 1,000 followers to under 10,000 followers, and don't have this big, gigantic audience, if you can start to create content with them, then you're going to be able now to cross-pollinate. But people who have smaller audiences, 1 to 10,000, tend to be a lot more connected to their audiences than some of the platforms that have major followings. And if you're an artist that's coming out, you might not have the budget. There are creative ways you can work with some of the smaller content creators to get your music out there. That might also allow you to create challenges to your audience where you guys can do collaborations, create challenges, and be more interactive with your brand on social media, getting your music out there. And that was one of the big things that Father Phyllis did in order to push his brand away out and get his music out there without going the traditional route. So I'll leave it at that because I know we are pressed for time today.
Yeah, I guess, you know, it's all about the state funeral also today, and we're going to head across to Akash Samaru very soon. Keron, I want to thank you, as always, and let's continue this conversation. Let's probably have a part 2, because again, we're into Carnival, and it's really important information you're bringing, and I hope that those looking on could collect, apply, and then they'll see, of course, the great results. All the best.
For sure. Take care.
Keron Rose, our digipreneur. We come back and we head across to Sapa after the break, touch base with Akash Samaru to give us the latest as we prepare for the state funeral of the late Basdio Pandey.